Hey guys, PIEGUYRULZ here, and I'm back again because Cartoon Network wanted to rebrand itself yet again. Those nudes lasted you what, 2 years? I mean, god dang. Cartoon Network's not even giving him enough time to catch on. Not that I'm saying it was a good idea, the nudes, but seriously, you gotta at least let the advertisements stick for a couple of years before just throwing it in the trash. But no, now the nudes are gone, and we get blocks. Yes, these new bumpers are incredibly generic and incredibly boring. I mean, just watch them. YouTube search them. The Cartoon Network Rebrand, May 2010. I mean, really, they are so boring to watch that it could go on any network. These bumpers and still make sense, although it would be equally as boring. It it just boggles the mind. I mean, at least the nudes were full of fun, even if they were a bad idea and not as interesting. At least they were energetic. They tried to drag you into the shows. They tried to promote the network and the shows. This is just like, yeah, we've given up. I mean, I've seen more creative bumpers on GSN. Really, Game Show Network. And some of these bumpers are very reminiscent of Game Show Network bumpers for the oddest reason. Like there's one with a maze and one with a jackpot, a casino machine. It just it irks me how bland and boring these are. And before we had the nudes as our little mascot, and before that we had the actual cartoons in the city as a mascot, and before that we had the other cartoons as mascots. But now what do we have as a mascot? We have a guy dressed in a C block costume and a guy dressed in an N block costume. I kid you not. These are like, I guess they're the mascots because they're the only actual characters, quote unquote, I've seen in these bumpers. I mean, I'm sorry I'm at a loss for words because these just aren't interesting enough to even comment on. It's not like I can make fun of them for being bad because they're just so bland and boring. I really don't have much to say about it. So, yeah, the bumpers are bland, boring, and don't make you want to watch the network. So I guess I can talk about some of the new shows they have now. Let's see. They have, oh yes, a lovely Ben 10 Ultimate Alien. Why? Why? I'm sorry. I understand why they needed to create a spin-off of Ben 10 for the next one for Alien Force because Ben, Gwen, and Kevin were older and it seemed like a bit of a different series from the original Ben 10. And don't get me wrong, although I do think that show was utterly bland and the characters, Ben 10 Alien Force wasn't all that bad. It was a decent action show, not as good as the original Ben 10. I've already said this. But Ultimate Alien, I have never seen any of it, and I haven't watched the later seasons of Alien Force. But why? Why do they need to spin it off again? From what I can tell, Ultimate Alien is like no different. Ben is still about the same age, and it kind of still focuses around him and his cousin and Kevin. It doesn't make any sense why they need to spin it off again. Why not just have it as the next season of Alien Force? And I know this is a minor nitpick about the titles of the show, and I know like shows like Power Rangers will do this every season where they rechange the name and Pokemon and such like that. But it's like there's not even a need for it at this point. It's not. I mean, I'm sure there's some differences from Alien Force, but why not just make it a new season instead of a new show? Why? Because I guess Cartoon Network needs new shows because they don't have enough shows that can be branded as quote unquote new. What else do we have? We have, oh yes, the lovely live-action Unnatural History. I don't know about the thing about this show, but I know that I'm going to hate it. Why? It's live action. I mean, Cartoon Network, did you not learn your lesson yet? You canceled your CN Reel block. Your entire promotional thing for CN Reel was a huge flop. Everyone hated the live-action shows. You have about, and they're all ripoffs. You have about like one or two live-action shows that still remained that people actually can tolerate. It boggles the mind why you'd feel like you need to try it again. And I mean, this one looks like completely different from what they had before. Before, they didn't really try the sitcom angle again, seeing as how Out of Jimmy's Head was such a flop, and pretty much the reason I got into ranting. But no. You decided to create another series that seems to be a sitcom, not necessarily a sitcom maybe, but a scripted show that's it's a show. It's more of a show than the other than hunting ghosts and than answering questions on a roller coaster, or than the sports they actually used to show at one point. You know what I mean when I call it a show. It's why I have no hope. I don't. First of all, I don't have high hopes for the show in general because of how poorly Cartoon Network does its live action shows, and two, it doesn't even belong on the friggin' network. I don't get it. I'm sorry I don't have much to talk about here, but the bumpers, the rebrand, everything is so bland. It's like we've seen it before, Cartoon Network. This actually feels like the original checkerboard bumpers got all the life sucked out of them. You remember back in the day, before I was around, I'm sure you've seen some on YouTube, of back before the Powerhouse era, back when Cartoon Network's promos were pretty much just this Cartoon Network logo checkerboard with a bunch of cartoons popping out of them. This feels like that branded bumpers, but without the fun, without the excitement, without the cartoons. It's like they took the cartoon out of the Cartoon Network. And I mean, I know they did this before with the nudes, but it's like now the cartoons are really gone because they don't even have nudes representing cartoons anymore. They have nothing. In an effort to try and make themselves hip and now and futuristic and all present and neo and whatnot, Cartoon Network's drained all the fun out of its network. And I mean, I don't know. First, they keep coming up with new things for me to rant on. It's like this Rant series was supposed to have been done like years ago. Like this was supposed to be like a 3-part thing, but no. Cartoon Network, you're dragging this out. You're giving me more things to hate. You're giving me more things to be angry about. You're giving me more things that get me more subscribers, of course, so I mean, that's a good thing. But you're making me sound like the friggin' angry video game nerd here because I'm at my wit's end with you, Network. I don't even watch you anymore. I just saw this promo on YouTube, and that's what made me want to make this rant. It's just intolerable. I'm sorry. I have nothing else to say. I should probably just end this video now. So I think I will, because this is probably the maddest I've ever gotten on any of these rants, because this is just unforgivable. Alright, PIEGUYRULZ out. I'm sure I'll be with you in another Cartoon Network rant not too long from now, as I'm sure Cartoon Network will do something else that'll piss me off in the near future. PIEGUYRULZ out.